Good morning. My name is Willie Gordon, and thank you for attending my speech this morning. By the end of my speech, the audience will understand why the United States should legalize marijuana. As a child growing up in the 70s, I was always told children who did do marijuana were the ones who burned out their brain cells and were the ones who dropped out of school and ended up in a life of crime. The legalization of marijuana is not the end of American society as we know it, but the beginning of breaking of an ignorant mind frame, which has handicapped the progression of this country and the wasteful mismanagement of resources. I will show how legalization would be productive in American society today. First, I will show how America would benefit from the financial gains. I will then show how the medical benefits help those who are in medical need. And third and finally, I will show how America could reallocate the law enforcement. States could reduce incurred debt by legalization of marijuana and use the earned revenue to build on existing civic projects such as roads, schools, constructions, and buildings. Colorado is the first state to legalize recreational marijuana use. As a result of this legalization, the first week of revenue has already exceeded $5 million. Those who may oppose the legalization of marijuana may see the financial explosion as a false flag. But $5 million in the first weeks of sale is not a false flag, but a potential for financial growth and the ability to become a financially responsible society. The state of Colorado has already projected a $578 million in first year sales revenue, with $67 million going into building schools and funding regulatory efforts. The second reason to legalize marijuana is for its medical needs. The medical benefits of marijuana are proven to help patients who are stricken from different ailments that have fallen upon them. We have medical aid for cancer patients, chronic pain, and nausea because of chemotherapy and multiple sclerosis. There are many pundits who believe the use of marijuana to cure ailments are nothing more than a bunch of hippies and dope addicts who would like to find any reason to smoke marijuana. But this is not true. Not only is marijuana one of the least harmful elements out there, or least harmful natural plants out there, it is less harmful than the prescription medication that is given out daily. And where I would like to back that up in is just in reports from the CDC, the Center of Disease Control. In 2010, there were 16,651 deaths from prescription medication. That was up from 4,030 just in 1999. Now in that small time, we're just talking about a few years, there was over 16,000 deaths. Now if you were to go back even 40 years, let's just go with 1970. The Center of Disease Control has not recorded one death from a marijuana overdose. 40 years compared to 10 years. Just looking at 10 years, 10 short years of prescription medication against just 40 years, I don't know. Maybe something there we should think about. But medical marijuana has been proven, and now 20 different states, Georgia, Florida, and several other southern states, are now looking into legalizing or putting into their bills the legalization of medical marijuana, and then taking the model from Colorado and Washington State about them progressing on to making it recreational. Finally, I would talk about how legalizing marijuana will release the pressure on our overcrowded jail systems. Jails and prisons will benefit from the decriminalization of marijuana. This will alleviate the pressure on housing petty criminals in our overcrowded jail system. In 2010, there were 663,032 arrests for marijuana possession of an ounce or less. This surpassed violent crimes arrests by 100,000, according to the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Decriminalization of marijuana will begin the reallocation of law enforcement assets and will force on bringing violent criminals to justice. Again, there are still some pundits who believe the possession of marijuana should be an incarceration offense. However, this type of thinking could leave approximately 100,000 violent criminals walking the streets and waiting for their opportunity to commit their next crime against you, your family, your friends. 100,000 potential violent criminals still walking the streets. But we have that same 100,000 going to jail for less than an ounce of marijuana. Marijuana itself has always had a negative shadow in American society. It is far from that. The decriminalization of marijuana will have a positive effect on this American society. The financial gain from earned revenue will help states continue to develop social projects, such as new school improvements on the education and roads and bridge construction. The medical benefits will help in the quality of life for those who suffer from a variety of ailments that have been helped with marijuana. And lastly, marijuana legalization will relieve America's overstressed justice system that will allow law enforcement agencies to focus their efforts on an estimate 100,000 violent criminals. The various positive effects, according to the research and implementation of the legalization of marijuana, is why I strongly support this course of action. In conclusion, you have seen that at first I've shown how America will benefit from the financial gains. Then I showed you how the medical benefits will help those who are in medical need. And finally, I showed you how the reallocation of our law enforcement agencies could then target 100 potential dangerous threats. My name is Willie Gordon, and thank you for attending my speech.